Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. This is going to be the first video in a new series I'm introducing to the channel, where I'm going to be breaking down how to set up every single map in the rank pool like a pro, but most importantly, I'm going to be explaining why things are done a certain way, and not just give you guys a blueprint, to hopefully teach those willing to learn and want to play how to play around a setup. So for those who don't know me, my name is Mint, and I'm a former pro player and major winning coach. I played for about 10 years, and my overall mission is to break things down as simple as possible and make the game more accessible, because let's be honest, we all picked a pretty difficult game with a steep learning curve to try and learn. So with that said, let's start with my favorite map in the map pool, Bank. All right, starting off the top floor, Bank or CEO bomb site. I'm going to just go over each wall and head hole and every single hole you see and explain the why things are done a certain way, just so you kind of know how to play around the setup. I don't want to give you guys just a blueprint and say here you go. So all right, starting off, let's just start with probably the easiest two walls. I think everyone is, I'm already seeing do this. We reinforce these two CEO walls, and the reason being is it allows you to play up against the windows. You don't have to worry about anyone walking up the square, the stairs, or play S2 and just wall bang you through the walls. It also just cuts off another lane into sight. It's forcing the attackers to open it. Otherwise, they just have to play windows, or they're going to go like curve and stock. So these two being reinforced are just very, very good. Now this wall you want reinforced on the left side and head holes on the right. And the reason being, again, on this one is the positioning for your trump player. So if you are an attacker and you're trying to walk into square, you're absolutely terrified of these head holes. Someone playing back here with an ACOG can just hold the door. It's going to be a gunfight. So this is just like a crossfire that's just kind of set up between your janitor player and your trump player. They're going to be scared to push curve, again, because of these head holes. So that's why that is set up. And then we have janitor. This is probably the most common way I see it set up in ranked, and I'm going to keep it for the video. It's not the way I personally like to set it up, but I'm going to keep it for the video because I do think it's the easiest way to play janitor, because you just have these two walls reinforced all the way up against. This way you don't have to worry about getting wall banged. I like to set the walls up in the middle to being reinforced, but in that case, you're then, again, you set yourself up to being shot through the soft wall here, or sometimes you have like head holes here. So these two walls allow you to hold on to janitor control, and because they're both reinforced, you can sit here, break that face, and you have these floor holes into stock, and you should have a stock player. Two walls, or we'll get to that in a second, but you can sit here, and if they jump into stock, you can at least call it. It's a hard kill, but you can at least call it. Maybe you got frost mats on the windows, then you definitely can confirm. Just shoot through the flag right there. But this is just, again, your janitor player can sit here. You can even make holes above the janitor wall. So if you're afraid that their whole plan is to just open up this wall and plant on the reinforced walls, you could just have this open and then just step back, throw a C4 over, and then boom, that'll kill the guy that is down there. And there's even better lineups that you can get lower, but regardless, having head holes above can be good for that. But as a janitor player, you're just sitting here, head holes. This just allows you to contest the window swing in. As you hear them, you can peek the head holes. And then also you can crouch underneath it. Say they're going for a plant behind the CEO desk. You can just boom, throw a C4, stop all the plants. Rotate in, just allowing a little bit of movement on the site. You don't want to be stuck in the janitor, and the only way is to go through meeting. So you want to add another way in, and that's going to be the rotate hole. I like it so you're running through the rotate. I don't like crouch rotate here, because if you crouch, you're more likely to get caught because you're a lot slower going through the rotate. So standing allows you to do it. And that's the same thing for this standing rotate. A lot of times, say they put a lot of pressure on you. Maybe they send a buck underneath, or whatever it is, they might force you out of janitor. Or maybe you're the meeting player and you want to fill janitor. A sprinting head hole is going to give you a better chance at crossing to those reinforced walls than having to go through crouch like this, where you're just slow and exposed to the window. At least here, you can run across and already be sprinting. So I like the sprinting hole here. Head holes, so you can stand on top of this meeting desk. You now can set up a crossfire with your stock player. If they pressure your stock guy back and they jump in, you can have head holes here and catch them as they try to run deep to stock. And then same thing for here. Attackers can jump over the marble skylight. That's back in the game as an attacker. You can go to the roof and jump over. So you sit here to hold the gap. You hear them rotating on the roof. Maybe you think they're going to jump. You're already waiting for them. I like This, for the same reason, just added mobility. Adding both of these rotates, I think, is really, really nice touch. I think it's good for the meeting player, so he doesn't always have to peek out of this door. He can go through this rotate and then come through here. Also hold the main stairs. I think it's also really good for the E3 player to not always like be stuck in E3. Say you're playing Bandit and they still get the walls open, instead of just tucking in E3 where you could die. A good spot to play is actually this position, because you're not exposed to anything here. Like everything, like you are totally good to just sit here, hold like a passive angle. Maybe you got some barbed wire on the red stairs. You can just hold a passive angle right here, wait for him to come up, kill him. You also can hold main stairs from here. If you make holes in the meeting wall to janitor, you can hold curve. You're also kind of ready if they open the CEO wall. So like this is like a really good central position as well, very similar to meeting. That your E3 player can always play. So again, I like these rotates. The reason they are on the side of the wall that they are is if you make it on the right, I'll just put a pump here. They can walk up red stairs or spiral stairs, and they would already have an angle into your janitor and into your meeting. So you don't want to make it on the right, you want to make it on the left. And then same thing for this one, why it's over here is a lot of times your stock player, say you keep the E3 wall shut, your stock player can always just back up to hold main. If you think they're going for a lobby take, you could sit right here, look through the rotate. And as soon as they come up red stairs, most of the time the attackers want to go this way to what I call banana, and that's going to expose to that angle, so they're not quite ready for it. So it's just all about setting up crossfires. And then let's see, Trump. This position's called Trump. I don't know why, but it is. I used to call it quad on DZ, but sure. Let's see. Again, those head holes are for the Trump player here to hold the square player. These holes are nicely set up on here because you can a lot of times sneak into this books position, and then right there's the curved door. So you have an A call, you can look through there and help your janitor player, and you can hold curve, you can hold the door push or the janitor door push. And then this rotate, this is just depends on the type of player you are, but I think it's a very, very nice touch. A lot of like top pros use it, but your Trump player doesn't have to be stuck in here because it's not like the most fun position. You're obviously exposed to a lot of different things, but you can also just play up against the windows. So like say this is castled, you can then run straight across, go through this rotate. That wall's reinforced, so you have, again, this is all like working in synergy together. It's reinforced, so you don't have to worry about square. And then you can come through here and sit in what I call Narnia. You're not exposed to any angles. You can sit here safely. And the moment they go to like burn you out, maybe you're playing a zombie, maybe you're playing like a Wamai, something really good that can play here. You can always just dip right back to your rotate, boom, 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 and you're back. So again, it just kind of gives nice little movement. And if they don't get on windows, I guess this is the last wall that I didn't explain, but if they don't get on windows, again, if you're sitting in bookcase spot, you're safe, you don't have to worry. You can also play off it. Right, so you're not going to get wall banged while you're playing here, and it again just allows this player to not just be stuck in Trump, but more so you're given the freedom to kind of play this lane all the way up against the windows. All right, I want to go one step further. This is the top-down view of the CEO site, and I want to break down position by position where you can play, because again, I don't want to be giving like niche, like you have to do this with a coordinated 5-stack. If you want to just play certain positions or know why certain positions are played, or you want to know the best operators to play in certain positions, then yeah, this part will be for you. So where do you play on CEO? So what I call position 1 is your janitor position. So this is one spot. Then you have your stock player. So this is position number 2. Your meeting player. This is your 3rd position. Your Trump player / close window player, right? So I'm going to draw it like normally it's just back here. If you want to get brave and start exploring the windows, you can. And then your last position is that E3 position. So I'll go through each zone and explain again the best operators, like the top 3 operators in each spot. So if you're just playing by yourself and you want to explore different operators, or you want to see the synergy between the spots, we can start breaking things down. But anyway, in the janitor position, I would recommend, in no particular order, but I think Smoke is very, very strong in there. I think Warden is strong in there. And I think Mira is also a good operator for Janitor. So Smoke, the reason being, you're obviously sitting on those walls a lot of times. Again, if you have that sight line onto S2 from your Trump player and they go to push curve, you can smoke out the door and smoke the push off, because most of the time that's where the attackers are going from in ranked, at least from what I noticed. So you can use Smoke, you can have some barbed wire for you there. And then also you have the util, so if they are going for that window plant and they just want to plant inside there, you can just smoke off the plant. Boom. So Smoke's a very, very strong operator to have in there. Moving on to zone 2, which is the stock position. Again, remember you got those 2 stock walls reinforced. Some operators that I think are very good here is Azami. I think could be the number 1 operator here. And then other than that, I would bring something to bring your own shield. I think Frost is a very good ranked stock position because, again, you bring your own shield. You can put frost mats for the windows, but you can also go like Warden if you're afraid they're going to go Ying and flash stock and take it. You can bring your own shield for that as well. But Azami, I think, is the best in slot operator in that spot. And again, I'm a big fan of, you can just block off the windows. You can give yourself, you can block off the desks here, so that way you can actually go inside and not always be sitting actually curve. You can use zombies and throw some later or early on that are actually blocking the angle just like a shield would. So zombies is going to give you a little bit more freedom in the stock position. You can block off the windows, get aggressive. So again, just a very, very good operator. But if someone is also just going to give you a shield, like if someone else is actually, maybe it's your duo you're queuing with and they bring you a shield so you can actually just put one here, then you could go anything you really want. Maybe a Fenrir, maybe a Legion if you're afraid they're going to be jumping in windows. Those are also some good operators in that spot. In the third position, which is the meeting position, here I am a big fan of like Mira. This could also be like Echo because you're pretty safe in the meeting spot. Maybe even Maestro. Let's just write Maestro in. But you're pretty safe in the meeting spot. Let's just say Mira. You can give your Smoke, your Janitor player, a Mira. So now he has a Mira facing the window plant. And then you can then sit in meeting and use your second one as a pocket, meaning like wherever the push is coming from, you could slap it down. So you can either slap it down on the soft wall if you think they're going to push curve and give yourself some vision, or if you're starting to lose stock and your stock player dies and you think they're going to push hall, you can put a soft one facing the main stairs in stock position. And same thing, because we have that rotate on this side, if you think they're going to push up the red stairs, you can also put a late Mira facing the stairs, and they stand absolutely no chance. So Mira is very, very good in that position if it's up, but I know it's banned a lot of the time. You can also just play like an Echo or a Maestro. In the fourth position, which is the Trump position, I think the number 1 operator here is Castle, but mainly because you can give yourself that ACOG so you can actually fight the S2 angle. And then you also can give yourself some castles. Like personally, this is one of my favorites. This is going to block if they get on that repel. You can block like these 2 windows off to block some of the lobby repels. I also think this double window right here is very good because, as I was saying before, if you want to start playing closer against the windows, you can get into the bookcase here. If this is castled, it's going to allow you to run across through that rotate into that Narnia spot, and then it's so much movement. You can just keep going back and forth with the castles there, and again, the ACOG is so good. Really, any ACOG operator will do. At a high level, a lot of times a Rooney is also played here, but if you just want to play like maybe even a Wamai and play again like tucked to windows and just keeping yourself alive with discs up against the windows, that's also good. But I think Castle is the best operator in that spot. And moving on to the 5th position, the E3 position, I think the best operator by far here is Bandit. You could also run Cade, but it can be countered pretty easily. I think Bandit, again, I think it's the best, but something to keep the E3 wall shut, just because how powerful of an angle is it when the attackers get it open? They can just hold down the entire hall. It makes it a lot harder for your stock player to back up. He actually has to either give it up or stay committed to stock. If they are getting the wall open, or maybe you're playing ranked and Ace and Hibana are banned and they're just not going to get it open, you could also just go like Echo in this position as well, because you're normally safe in the elevator. And you could put an Echo drone for lobby and give yourself full-time vision to peek off of, and you can use your other one maybe down in the hallway here, and you can drive it back and forth. So that way your stock player and your janitor player always have vision if they're pushing curve or they're pushing stock, maybe shields jumping in stock. You can stun for your stock player, and you also have that late round denial for the window plant. So all these spots kind of working in tandem. Again, there's just so much sight lines, like he's helping curve. This guy's on janitor watching his own curve plus stock. This guy's in meeting watching curve plus through the holes to stock plus main. Your E3 player is responding to spiral plus main. Your Trump player is looking S2 plus red stairs. So there's just so much synergy. This is why this is the 5 positions. And honestly, Bank CEO has been played like this for a very long time. There's a reason to it. It works. If you want to explore some different operators, you absolutely can. But again, these are just my suggestions. All right, we're going down to the bottom floor. We're going bank, basement. We're skipping over the middle floors right now and doing the main 2 sites. So I'm going to show you guys how I like to set up a site. This is how I think it should be set up. If you're bringing like a smoke and some default operators, we'll start with just this hole, which should be pretty kind of obvious, but you need some type of head holes here so you can fight the main stair guy. You don't want him to walk down for free. One hole that I did forget to add is if you do head holes here, you can actually sit in, what is this called? Vault entrance? Sure. I think we call this jail, but I'm not sure what the rank call out is. But you could sit here, and you could even get another angle onto the main stairs, because again, you don't want that guy to be able to walk down main stairs for absolute free. Like, hopefully there's some barbed wire or a trap or something on it. But as he walks down, he's like, oh god, you know, like all these walls are open, and then even that wall right there, or another sight line onto main stairs makes it even more difficult. So again, I like making those 2. This is just obviously for you can get a pixel angle onto the guy planting in the default spot. So if they open the wall and they go for a default plant, you're sitting here with an ACOG, you could get an angle right here through the pixel. You might be able to tap and kill the planter. You can also do similar things through these holes as well from bottom main stairs. So you want that open. I like reinforcing this wall in sight. I know a lot of people do this wall in the red hall, but the thing is, if you reinforce the red hall wall, that's giving the attackers an option or somewhere to plant. So I like to back up the reinforcement and put it on that, because now when they drop, literally nowhere they can plant that's safe except for like maybe on bomb or default plant, because they will be exposed to everything else. I make this a full standing rotate. This is just so your smoke, as he's back here doing his normal smoke lineup, hopefully your smokes have lineups and can stop the plant. Anyway, able to sit back here because it's all fully up to the top. Able to sit here and do lineups with the Chonka. You can also just smoke from on the wall too. I like kind of just throwing it back up in there, just kind of banking it on the wall, but giving you a wall to play on. Head holes here, just because again, I like to use this. Say you think they're going to push through, you can just kind of sit here. You're throwing smokes, they're going for a push through, you're waiting for them, they drop hatch, boom, all dead. Because like right here is as soon as they drop hatch. Feet holes / knee holes, whatever you want to call it. Just so again, there's nowhere safe for them to plant. They can't hide underneath. If you make head holes, they could technically plant and you wouldn't be able to see them because they'd be under the head holes. So that's kind of why I rip up the wall like this. And I also like a little rotate here. This is just optional. I don't think every team needs to do this, but at a high level, I think it's nice because if you think about it, when they open up the hatch and if they're just going for a normal default plant, that guy on the hatch is holding red or he's holding the keys door or wet door, whatever this red call out is. So he's holding one of the two, but this gives a third route. You can even make a rotate here if you wanted to, where you're on this wall waiting for the push through. They're not going for the push through. You go through the rotate, then you go through this rotate, and you're already behind the bomb. Also, just it's nice and easy. So if you're sitting here denying the hatch, maybe you're playing two brow or something like that, and you're just like additional time waste, maybe some Cade, you could sit behind the bomb, and you don't have to go like all the way to the door to leave, or you don't have to go to this rotate to leave and expose. You actually just sit behind the bomb, and you're like nice and safe to get out. As far as reinforcements go, reinforcing the default wall, make them have to bring a can opener, a thermite or something, because this is such a powerful plant spot. If this wall stays shut, they can't. If they try to plant anywhere back here, they're just exposed unless they're playing behind a shield. So denying this plant spot, which allows them to stay absolutely tucked, why most teams will bring, like, again, like a thermite, an ace, Hibana just for this wall so they can get in there and plant very safely. So denying that. I like leaving this wall soft just because I think bank basement, I don't think you should heavy roam, personally. I think you should make the attackers have to have an exec on it or an actual attack on it instead of dying upstairs. I think it's one of the easier sites to bunker. And so I like this wall soft because I think you can have a guy playing on the blue stairs, and then at the same time, someone can be behind the bomb holding dirt. And let's say like a Montane or someone crosses. If this wall was reinforced, they would be absolutely safe to sit behind this server rack and hold your player on the blue stairs, which would isolate a fight, right? So you leave it soft, so even if they do get back into here, you could just wall bang through the wall and just fight them back server rack, so they're not actually safe. All right, other reinforcements. Server hatch, and I will preface this with, don't reinforce this hatch unless you actually plan to hold server and play on the stairs with like a shotgun, a smoke, a warden, something like that. If you're not going to play like that and instead you're going to go for like a heavy roam, then open up this hatch or leave it soft, because then your roamers, as they take server control, the attack takes server control, your roamers can retake the hatch, and then you can shoot everybody down in server and stop the plant. So only reinforce this if you're going to hold it. Other than that, let's see. Let's go into open. Again, I think bank should be played, or bank basement should be played with a time waste. And those 3 time waste spots, we just went over server. That's a very easy time waste spot. Very easy to understand, too. Again, you could just play in there. We'll go over the best operators to play in there, but you could just play in there with a pump and just waste some time. Second time waste spot is open area. And to support open area and make it nice and safe, I like to reinforce, 1, this wall. So this prevents anyone from printer window, to be able to wall bang you as you... this is your escape route. So you open up the red hatch. You can sit around the red hatch, and anytime you feel pressured, you could drop. Super safe. That's why you roam an open area. It's supported by your hatches being reinforced, so stock should be reinforced, and also janitor should be reinforced. So now the only way they can really push you is from kitchen or E2 hall, unless they try to go through a wall or open up a hatch or jump printer. And then these feet holes, this just allows your open area guy to sit in here a little bit longer. So if they jump in printer, say you're playing like a Legion or something in here, they hit a goo, you can challenge them, and this is way more defender-sided. They're not exactly sure where you're going to be. You can even make these holes lower if you want. But it's just going to give you more of a chance to fight the attackers as they try to run through. Otherwise, you won't see them until they, pass through this wall. Okay, and then again, so as soon as you're feeling pressured, you just drop and you're back into sight and you're playing your nice little bunker. So all that works in synergy. And then, let's see, I'll go over these walls in a second. Obviously, the vault hatch, you want to reinforce that vault or that lobby hatch. Very, very important. You don't want the attackers to just walk an ATM, open up your hatch, and drop and just take the site. That would be very bad. So definitely reinforce that vault lobby hatch. And then, yeah, the last 2 walls, preference, you at least need this one on the left. You could leave this side soft, but the reason I like them both reinforced is the 3rd time waste spot that all high-level bank teams use is playing in the E1 elevator. And again, why is it used? Is just because you can use a hatch and fall off, and it's a very, very safe spot to play. You reinforce those 2 walls, so if you're sitting in here waiting for drones, you don't have to worry about getting wall banged through tellers. They actually have to open the wall on you first. Otherwise, you can just sit, you can just sit in here, you can shoot drones, and once you're feeling pressured, nice and simple, you drop. And that basically is bank basement in a nutshell. All right, so here's an overview of bank, and I'm starting on the first floor instead of actually basement because there's a little bit of layers to this one. In fact, this is what is called a layer setup because we are not just playing our positions like it was on CEO and like those are our spots. Here we are kind of falling off. So it's a little bit different. I'm going to put position 1, which was like our open area guy, This will be 1. This is a fallback spot, and then position 2 is your elevator guy. That is position 2. And then position 3, we're going to just circle these stairs, pretend that we are actually on the server stairs. Those are your first 3 positions for the layer. Your other 2 players will be playing downstairs in sight. You would want a garage player, and you will want just someone like behind the bomb protecting server, so they don't just do like a server direct, which is very, very common in ranked. Okay, so we'll just do these first 3 positions, and then we'll go to the basement and talk about like actually just sitting downstairs, because most of the time you can't just sit downstairs in ranked and it will work. But as far as position 1, what do I think the best operators in here are? It depends on the type of teams you're playing, but one op I really do like is Tubarão, and the main reason being is you have a DMR. So if anyone's pushing you and you're looking through these head holes, the DMR is actually going to rip people alive. You also have the Tubarão canisters, so if they are trying to open up your stock hatch or your janitor hatch, you can delay even more time and you can freeze them from below. You also have a C4, so if they're going to breach above you, you could try to C4 them. And then another big reason is you obviously could just drop down the red hatch, and then when they go for the default hatch, aka this hatch, you can play underneath and freeze from below the default hatch. So tube, very good operator. If you don't want to play tube, other ops I'd recommend in here would probably be some trap ops. I think Lesion's very good in here because you can again put some goo mines on your windows, and you could also play Fenrir in here. Fenrir could be a great op in here just because again you could put some Fenrirs for your walk. Maybe you're afraid of them jumping in printer or coming through the kitchen door. You can have these Fenrirs on, so you can waste a little bit more time without having to worry about any quick plays on you. And then your other 2 could be, you know, more for the back hatches. You can put one for vault hatch or maybe even one for garage that can help out. Going to position 2, this is another fallback spot. And I think one of the best operators to put in here, just because of good util, is Goyo. Because even if you do get caught in here going a little bit aggressive, you at least hopefully put your Goyo fires down for default plant. You can stack them for the default server plant, because after you waste all this time, if you maybe have some on blue stairs for your stair player, or you have some in the default plant, or maybe even one bottom main, those Goyos will definitely help for any late pushes. So Goyo here is good. It also brings the Vector with an ACOG, which if anyone watches my stream already, you know how broken that gun is. Another good operator in here could be Fenrir for the same reasons as the open area guy. You could also just put one maybe for your E2 walk. Maybe you're scared of the attackers walking here quickly. You could have a Fenrir for the door. You can have some for these back hatches, because it's usually the elevator player's job, if they open vault hatch and are pressuring that they're going to hit sight. If you're Fenrir and you have a trap and you have this on, you would just drop down the hatch, and then you already can hold the hatch drop, so you can catch them. So Goyo, Fenrir are both good there. You could even go Valkyrie if you want to get, I'll add that as the third option just because I'm making it a theme of adding 3. Val could be really good because you could put, you know, some lobby cams. There's that desk that's like right here, right? You can put some vision here, so now you can call if they're dropping down the vault hatch. You could put some Val cams in server, so we can go for default plants, things like that. You want to get a little bit more aggressive, you could put a Val cam even in the light right here, so as they walk down main, maybe you swing out on that. So those are 3 good operators to play in there, but again, it's a fallback position. You're just going to be shooting drones as the attackers drone through this hall. They see you're there. If they don't, you get free kills, but otherwise, you shoot the drone, you drop down the hatch, and then you hold the backside. Third position, the server position, aka my favorite position, because it's the one I played when I played in Pro League. Big fan of that being like Warden with a shotgun, because you don't want to lose to just a Ying or a flashbang or even a blitz. And with Warden, you can stay on the stairs very, very long. Maybe your duo is playing Goyo, and he can give you a Goyo fire at the top. If you don't have a duo, then smoke could be a good option in there, because you can just use smoke to obviously time waste as long as you can server side. Hold it with the pump, smoke the top, maybe watch the bottom. Another good operator in there could be, those are my favorite too, but I mean, you could play Jaeger even. You could even play Jaeger in there. I've seen Jaeger shotgun in there a good amount if you want to have ADSs and then just use a pump. That could also be a good operator. But Warden and Smoke, I'm just going to keep those. They're by far my favorite too. You can keep it really simple on yourself if you play Warden. Just stay on blue stairs until you die. Get really good at that spot. It's a very hard spot as an attacker to push out, especially in ranked if they're not coordinated. We can go on to the basement. Again, as we all fall down, so what, this was position 3, there's your Warden, your Goyo is holding backside, this was position 2, your Tuberal that went into sight, remember you're underneath or you're playing around here, that was position 1, because if you're tube, you can tube the hatches. That garage operator I didn't talk about yet. This is position 4 on bank. You're going to want an ACOG here. I would prefer either an Echo, because you can use Echo drones to see if they're walking on you. In garage, give yourself an advantage. You can bring impacts even as Echo. So if they're bringing OSA into your garage, you can stun or break the shield with that. It also is obviously going to give you the ACOG to play at the default angle. Another good operator to play in here could be a Rooney, just because, again, the DMRs are so good. If you're running Tube and a Rooney, that's two of the most powerful guns on defense. DMRs are so good at a high level, so a Rooney could be really good, because then you can actually fight like the Twitch or the other DMR that's pushing you in garage. So a Rooney is another good operator. But yeah, I would just recommend an ACOG. We'll just leave it at these two. And then that 5th spot is obviously usually something more in the central. So this is like your Smoke typically. So if this is your Warden over here, okay, then this should be your Smoke or your Tachanka. This is your Denial. And obviously your job in this position is to just know the lineups and know how to stop default plant, or maybe you're playing on that wall like I was talking about before, and you smoke the default plant and then you hold for push throughs. You're also like the central person on defense. So again, this is when I'll go into crossfires. You're also able to hold main. You also can help with red drop. All of those above. This guy also has main. Remember looking through that angle. He's also got these back hatches. If that Tuberal or Legion or whoever backs up and goes into Vault, this guy also can hold all this plus Vault Hatch. It's all crossfires, all talking about what we're holding. But that's basically how you play Bank Basement. I don't want to draw too many more lines. I don't want this to get more confusing because this is a very basic video, or at least it's tried to be. All right, let's go to the next site. All right, moving on to open area, the 3rd bomb site. And for this one, we're going to start with these kitchen walls. Now, I like to do 3 kitchen walls, and I like to put a little pump here. And reason being is because as an attacker, a lot of the time you have a Teller's Archives player. As a defender, you have a Teller's Archive player. He's isolated, he's alone, and if you have 4 walls reinforced, the attackers can just walk in square free and just go and aggress this guy, and there's nothing that can be done, right? It's just going to be a 1v1 or however many the attackers send. So with these, with this hole here, it just makes it so, like, say the Teller's Archive player is playing a Fenrir and he puts like a trap around pillar, the kitchen player can just sit here, play off that, boom, peek them as they are going for that player. So again, that is why I like 3 walls. It just adds a little bit more flexibility. I like to reinforce an electrical wall. This is just going to give you more movement in kitchen. So as you're dancing around back here, you don't have to worry about getting shot through a soft wall. They breach this. Like, soon as that wall gets breached, if it was soft, like, you're forced to basically tuck into here. You're just very, very scared. So that wall is nice just to give you some movement, some extra movement. The feet holes are just, they're just very defender-sided. If a attacker were to just walk in electrical and just try to walk to the door, your Archives player could be just sitting in the window here, and he would see them as they cross. So again, very, very good defender-sided angle. It's not going to let them have electrical for free. I like to reinforce this back kitchen wall. I see a lot of teams do like this middle wall instead, but I'm not even going to say I think. I know this wall is way better because just look at the angles. that it blocks, right? You can't actually see into kitchen at all. And if this was soft, a lot of teams will just jump in. They'll like flash the guy in kitchen. They'll jump in, go prone, and get a kill, and then just jump out. So with this, it can't happen. As soon as you jump in, you're exposed to a lot of different angles, a lot of different power spots that the defenders used. So jumping in is not very fun here. Feet holes again, just because, I mean, same thing. You don't want them to just jump in and then sprint across. You want to be able to shoot them through the feet holes. And then speaking of the angles, again, late round positions that defenders will play. This spot is called Kansan at a high competitive. I don't know what it's called in ranked because it's just called open area. But that wall protects Kansan, right? Someone's outside printer can't wallbang anyone playing in this spot. This is a lot of times like a smoke operator, because with smoke you can deny if the attackers try to cross to the kitchen plant. You can sit here, boom, smoke everything. And then also this red hatch, flag hatch, whatever it's called, is also a power spot. And because of these two reinforcements, again, there's no way they can get wallbanged. They can sit here for free. They can sit here very, very safe. It's a very hard angle for the attackers to actually get them out. I do like reinforcing this wall again, just because your other site player, we'll go over positions, but your other site player, if someone was to jump in printer and this wall is reinforced, this is again very defender sided. Feet holes, you see them jump in, you see them trying to run, you can just pre-fire them through the wall. You'll see them before they see you, kind of thing. Oh, head holes here. You can make them a little lower if you want. I just don't like to put a rotate in here because I don't want the attackers to have control or space. And maybe they kill your Teller's Archive player, and now they have a rotate to jump through. Now it's like a kill box in here. Like they have to go through the door or make a rotate. But either way, you want head holes here because you should have a, let's say you have a smoke playing in janitor above roaming. That smoke can drop down, and then if they're going for a plant and they're planting behind kitchen, you can drop down, throw smokes through the head hole, stop the plant. Okay, so rotate into Teller's Archives, because at a high level, you want to contest map control. You do not want to give map control for absolutely free. So it's very, very common to contest. Also, you have an Archives player because you want to be able to shoot off. Like, let's say they bring an ace or something and try to open wall. You can just sit here and shoot off the kitchen wall. So holding on to this space is very, very good. You can also, again, your extra help for the kitchen door by being here. But you put the rotate on this side because it's not exposed. Like if you were to put it on this side, and you go through the rotate, you'd be exposed to the top of the stairs and the outside windows. So you don't want it on this side, you want it on this side. Much safer. Look at this rotate. I mean, you could put this one any side you want, really, but you do want to rotate to get out of here, just in case. I think the best way to play Teller's Archives, personally, is playing more on this side of the room, because you are a free pick half the time if the attack is going for you, unless you're playing like a good vision op, a good a trap op, something like that. So if you're playing more on this side, you're able to actually get out of here and layer out a lot easier. But anyway, regardless, whatever side you really want to put it on, it's up to you. I think that's it. Let's go to top floor. I like to roam 2 on this site. So anyway, you have E3 Canto wall, same reason you would have it shut on CEO. You don't want an attack to repel on the windows and get a line of sight down the entire hall. It's just not good. It's going to restrict your movement. You can also just ban Ace, Sabata in your ranked games, and now this wall will never get open because there's only 2 range breach, so that's also good. Rotate here into Trump for extra movement, because as you can see, or if you didn't see, there is head holes, just like in CEO, so you want to be able to contest that square. So I think a castle playing in the spot, and we'll go over best person to play in each spot, but I think a castle playing in the spot, and you castle that window, you castle this window so they can't get on that rappel right there, and then you castle this door. It's going to allow you to contest square, which is going to help your janitor player so they can't walk curve very easily, right? So you're contesting, and then maybe you have a prox alarm on your red, or maybe you have Valk cams in lobby and they're going to walk on you. Very easy to rotate and give up top. You come through, walls are shut, you either go down E3 or you just jump over main. Very simple. And last but not least is the janitor player. So also stock, you can leave it soft. There's tons of like little micro plays you can kind of do where you can just kind of play in stock early. Maybe they don't drone it. If they do, you just pop the hatch and leave. So that's always good. You can always give up one of the walls in sight too if you want and just reinforce the stock hatch. Totally fine as well. But I do like having it open just because it allows you to like reflank the defense or the attack, sorry. If they're just trying to flood the site, it gives you another way down. But the last player is the janitor player. You put a head hole in each side just so you can kind of contest the windows. They don't feel like they can just swing in for absolute free. If this all was soft, they would just swing in. So these holes are just pressure. You're just pressuring the attack, and then you're just playing in janitor. You have a rotate if you want to go into meeting, but you're in here just for a time waste. You'll have the hatch open, and you reinforce the 2 middle walls because it allows you to drop down the hatch without getting wall bang from any of the windows. If you were to reinforce like CEO and put them both like over on the right side, you would expose obviously to windows because that would be all soft. So that is the setup. Now we can go a little bit more into the top down and talk about positions and operators. All right, starting off on the first floor here, there's only going to be 3 spots. So this is going, let me switch the color. This is going to be position 1, which is your hard anchor. This is your site player. And by far, the best operator in here is Azami. Azami allows, you can put one ways on the door, you can put a high, you can put a low, and then you can sit on the kitchen counter and you can look through. You can put some on the side of tables, which allow you to like play on, especially with this wall reinforced, right? It just gives you so much extra places to play. You can put one on this table. Now you're playing deep. They open up your kitchen wall. You patch the kitchen wall. Like Azami just allows you to do so much. It's by far the best operator to play inside kitchen. If you don't have Azami, I do think a shield op is a good second. So let's say something like Echo. And because a shield op is, you can actually put a shield on top of the counter and then you can play back here. And again, remember this wall is reinforced, so you're not worried about that. So this is kind of like a fortress back here. You could use the shield. You have lines of sight if they try to walk out of electrical. Remember, you guys have that crossfire. You have that player over in Tellers. You got that crossfire going on. You're sitting here with Echo. Maybe you have an Echo drone for your deep open so you can stun them if they jump into printer. You could also put one for your square. So again, if they're walking around, you have vision on your kitchen door. Drive them around. Feel free to drive them around and help people. Maybe Teller's Archive needs help. You drive them through. Boom, boom, boom. So Echo, very, very good operator here. If I wasn't Echo, I'd probably play something like a Legion, or maybe even a Capcan or a Frost, some type of trap operator, just to keep stacking, especially if I'm playing solo and I'm not really trusting any of my teammates to bring traps. I could just trap site. Same thing with Capcans. These deep Capcans are always really good, but trap site or frost mat site, and because you don't have the shield, you'd have to play just more on the kitchen wall and then just kind of hold your open, but all possible. But those would be my 3 best operators in there. Position number 2, this is going to be what I call a bridge. I forgot how to draw this. Yeah, I don't know what I just did. Okay. But this is, yeah, here we go. I figured it out, guys. This is going to be your bridge. This just means it's a site player, but it connects to the roam. So if the roam needs help, he can always help. A really good operator for this is Warden, because if it is a site player and they're going for a direct take and they're just trying to smoke, Warden can easily walk over here into site and again look through the smokes, make sure they can't get across. Maybe they're just bringing Ying to like Ying windows. Again, you're Warden, you're here. And then late round, a really good position to play with Warden is on top of Red Hatch. And if they're just opening your stock and trying to drop off flashbangs, boom, you're Warden, you have a C4. So Warden, very good op for the bridge. But other good ops could be like a Malusi or some other type of trap operator to help site. That way, if you're cheating more towards helping the roam, you still have like Banshee's printer or Banshee's like on the kitchen door to be able to actually help site. And then another good op could be like Valk. Valk is always good. Valk is always very good because you can put maybe some vision in lobby, so you can help your Teller's Archive player as maybe an attacker's walking to go to couch door. You could swing E2 off that. You could put one in the square, same kind of thing. It's going to let your Teller's Archive player know that, hey, maybe they're working me. You have vision. You can also put one above, and then if this player has a C4, he can C4, or, I mean, again, you can even come in here, the 2 in here, boom, now you have a C4, you C4 above if they're trying to retake above. So that would be that position. Again, 2. Position number 3 downstairs is this Teller Archive player. And for this spot, I like, especially if I'm playing ranked, I prefer a trap operator because I know I feel safe. But Fenrir, you can put him on the outside pillars. Again, now they can swing through that soft wall same time you can swing. And you can also put one on this pillar is also really good. Same thing, attackers, boom, you get an early warning. You know they're going for you. Now you call for help. Maybe you're the bridge players looking through here helping you now. You're more on door. So Fenrir, very, very good op. You can also put some for sight. If I wasn't Fenrir, I'd probably play a C4 operator. Valkyrie is really good. You could, again, these Valcams, like a lobby one and a square one good, and then you can also put one above in CEO. And then playing around this area, you can C4 if they go for swing-ins, anything like that, and get them as they are doing top-down. So C4 operators are also very, very good in Teller's Archives. We can clear all this, go to the top floor, because again, there's 2 positions up here, and that's going to be janitor, and that's going to be the Trump position. So 4 and 5. I do think, again, you should contest top floor a little bit in your ranked games, waste a little bit of time, and then you can always layer back into sight if you wish. But as far as the janitor player, I think smoke is a very, very good because you can smoke your curve if you think they're pushing you, because again, these head holes are here and you should have a player in Trump helping you. So as the attackers are pushing your curve, he calls it, you can smoke it off, waste more time. Also, if they're going to swing in windows, you can smoke it from here. Boom, boom, boom. You can smoke all the windows. And if they do a direct take, you just drop down the Jan hatch and you can smoke kitchen counter through the head holes that we talked about earlier. So smoke's a very good operator there. Also Lesion, because you can stack goo mines at your door. And for all the window swing-ins, so Legion's going to help you waste a lot of time top floor because of the goos. You can also go something like Mozzie and just like waste time, not let them to drone, maybe don't let them check. So those are 3 good ops. And then Trump player, by far the best player for this position is Castle. And I kind of explained it, but again, my favorite setup with Castle is to just castle off this window, again, blocking these angles, and then this door. And this is going to give the Castle so much space to just sit right here, look through the head holes, and then when he feels pressured, maybe he's got a prox alarm or something. When he feels pressured, just easily run through the rotate and then either go down E3 or jump down main. And again, because he's playing over this position, he can call that bridge upstairs. Maybe the prox alarm did go off. He can call the bridge upstairs to sit right here, look through that rotate, also cover his hall, and then just play trades for the top floor. So those are my favorite ways to play open. I do think, again, these guys should give. You can 100%, if you waste like 2 minutes of time, you could play all 5 players downstairs. Really, really good spots. I mean, you can obviously play in kitchen, Kansan, flag, E1 is really good because this is going to cover like the E2 because there's crossfires here. And then you could put the other guy in the basement, and that is your rotator. If you think they're going to bring the bomb through the kitchen door, then you send your guy through basement stairs. Or if you think they're going to end more of a kitchen side execute or an E2 execute, you send them for main stairs. So that's how you play open area. Hopefully that made it not confusing. It probably did because I like to yap a lot, but if you have any other questions, feel free to ask in the comments. I definitely don't mind talking about this stuff. So anyway, let's go to the 4th bomb site, Teller's Archives, the most, in my opinion, the most underrated bomb site in the entire game. All right, the 4th site, the one you almost never see, Teller's, but I also think this is a very underrated site, and I don't think attackers 100% know how to attack it every time if you have a good strat. But generally, this is how you'll see Tellers played at a high level. So for the most part, again, you'll have a few sight lines into sight. And reason being is the whole idea of the strat is you're going to be holding on to open area control. So we'll start over here with reinforcements. How are we going to hold on to open? We're going to reinforce these 2 kitchen walls. This is just going to give us a little bit of cover if they walk up the blue stairs or they're electrical or they get top square. So generally someone's going to sit around this area, and you have the head holes just like an open area because you want to be able to contest if they are trying to end onto the archive site, because that is the bomb site now. You want to be able to contest it. If they were to walk down the stairs, maybe you have some vision, you can peek off of something like that, a trap. So you're going to keep these 2 walls, and then this time you're going to put feet holes in this wall because, again, generally you're going to be playing in this position. So you just want to kind of stay here. Maybe you got a goo mine or something on the windows. You're just holding the window jumps, not letting them take open for free. And then you have this other electrical walls shut. Again, same reason, just because it's going to give you a little bit of movement, so you're not 100% stuck up against this wall. You know, you can definitely move around in here a little bit because of the wall setup. Other than that, we have this wall reinforced, and this is because there should be a second player playing around like that bridge position, that open area position, and because that wall is reinforced and the hatch is reinforced as well, it's going to allow this person to help the kitchen player so we can hold on to open area, because it is very, very important in a Teller's Archive strat. And another reason that that electrical wall is shut is because, again, we're able to just kind of sit around the middle of open area here. You have a player right there, you have a player in between these desks, and you're good to go. If they just try to jump in printer window, it's absolute free kills. You can just kind of sit here and hold everything. If they're not messing with you, again, you can count it as a bridge, and you can move around as need be. That is why we're reinforcing the two E walls, the E2 walls. I don't know what I just said there, but that's why we're reinforcing that. So again, you're not 100% stuck playing in here. You can move around freely in the hallway. So these two walls are, again, reinforced, so they can't just open it up and hold lines of sight on you. Rotate into what I call like money bag plant, because money. But rotate into sight here. This is also going to be good, and you should also open up desk lines of sight here. So that way, if you are holding main stairs and you look through the rotate, as they walk through that other teller door, the deep one, you have line of sight. If they're trying to plant, you can shoot. All that is soft. So you can completely open that desk up, shoot through it. Really good to get like an ACOG back here late round. So that's why the rotate is on this side. And again, these lines of sight, because we are holding on to archive control, we can just use them. Again, if they try to push deep, we're already here, ready to go, ready to defend the site. So obviously we need a little bit of a top floor setup with this. And we're only going to reinforce this one E3 wall. And if you have an extra wall, you can, but the reason being is because, look, one does the job. Even if they're on that rappel, they don't really get much. You have to be pretty wide, and this is also an easy angle to sprint across because you have one wall. So we're going to reinforce one wall, but if you want to play it safe, absolutely, go ahead. You can reinforce two. Maybe just give up something like the stock hatch or something like that, because it's ranked, and if it's soft, who knows if they'll even open it in general. So you maybe could just move it over there. But I like just one because it's gonna cut off the angle. It's gonna do the job. It's gonna do the trick. You can also put another rotate here. You don't have to, but you could do a very similar hold to open area, and you could put a rotate there, and you can put the lines of sight if you want, just for pressure. But on this one, I do like mixing it up and not playing the Trump position, but you absolutely can. But for this one, I like playing in meeting. You have a rotate here, so you can help your curve player, and you guys are just wasting time up here. So very similar to open area. Still two top floor roamers. I think, again, you should do something to contest top a little bit. You don't want to give them full vert because site is right below, and if you're not running a full 5C4 strat, I don't know how you're going to win. So you got to contest a little bit however you want to do it, but I like the rotate here, again, just to get into Janitor, and Janitor is the best way to waste time top floor for open and tellers. Like, if you take anything from this video, hopefully you take that. It's the easiest way, best way to waste time. Put a head hole on each side, same thing, same theory. You're just contesting the window swing in. You don't want it to be soft, or they will feel like it's completely free to swing in. So now you're actually able to swing in. You could even put holes right there. Come on, for the video. Okay, maybe not. All right, well, I promise you, you could put holes right there if you wanted to. And you can also see the what's called the low swing in. Okay, I give up. You can also see the low swing in, though, and hold it from here if you wanted to. But anyway, it's just time waste. You have the hatch open. You're ready to drop. And that's Teller Archives. Again, holding on to this control. Once they get top control, they're either going to try to end either Archive side or Teller side. If they try to end Archive side, again, that's what these holes are for, right? We're holding on to open area and kitchen, because if they try to walk down the stairs and go for an Archive plant, boom, we have all this open, and we can defend. Same thing for lobby. If they try to just go lobby and walk down and go into site, how are we going to win on defense? Well, if they go through this door, we can have feet holes in this, and we could be holding bottom main. And again, we're in open area, so we can see all these doors. We have all this control. That's why holding on to open and kitchen is so important. And if they try to go through the deep door, you could be playing when we fall off the top floor. We can hold it from bottom main, and again from tellers and archives. We can even hold it from way back here if they try to walk in. We have all these deep angles. Could even C4, boom. We can even open up a line of sight through here if we wanted to and play way back. But, you know, I don't have any shotgun bullets to show you, and I don't trust my SMG-11. Again, that's the gist of Teller's Archives. Let's go to the top-down view and talk positioning. All right, Teller's Archives. Here we go. We're on the top-down position. So we're going to call this number 1 position because it is the most important position. I don't even know why I'm drawing it that big. It's literally like right here. spot number 1. And this is like your anchor spot, and it's the key to Teller's Archives. And in my opinion, the best operator to run here is Lesion, just because you're sitting on the door and you want to keep goos. You have the shotgun to get to for the setup. You can put goos on all your walk-ins, so shields, things like that can't walk on you. You have information and stuff to play off of. If you didn't want to play Lesion, you could play like Azami or Echo in here, again, just like it's Kitchen. Just to give you a little bit extra movement. But I do think Lesion is by far the best in slot for that spot, just for the traps, for the shotgun, the late round, everything. It's just very, very good as Lesion. But again, you might have a better op. Maybe you want an ACOG, maybe you want a Frost in there, and you want to put a Frost on your windows, and you have an ACOG to fight like deep angles and stuff like that. Absolutely be my guest. But spot number 2 is going to be your sight player. And I'm a big believer in this being either, it depends. Like if you're playing solo, this could be like a Valk, because again, putting the Valk cam somewhere in lobby and somewhere in S2 is just so good. You could just sit in sight and flick both of these cams, and you know exactly where they're going to come from. And then you can go upstairs as well. Boom, the sun. That's an upstairs Valk cam right there. And then you can C4. So having a C4 operator in here is very good. Valk, another op I like in here is Mute, because you can mute jam all your doors so no one can drone you in sight. So now you are a little bit more protected. You also have that C4, and you also have the shotgun if you need to make a bunch of holes in sight. So Valk and Mute, both really good. But in general, I like a C4 operator. You could get away with playing like Fenrir in here again, because it's ranked, and if you're terrified people are just gonna like walk into sight on you, you absolutely could just play Fenrir and do the traps that we talked about for open area, and you could just put them like for your pillar walks, so you're nice and safe. You just protect sight. You maybe just keep them all for you, and you just play off that. You bring a BP. You could put the BP facing lobby, and boom, what a setup. Nice and safe. So good options for there. I'm sure there's, again, a ton more. Feel free to explore. These are not the holy Bible of operators, but these are just suggestions. For third spot, which is like the bridge again, I don't know how I'm going to draw this, so we'll just do like this. The bridge, right? So for this, I am a big fan of Echo, because again, remember, this wall is reinforced. You could be playing like back here. Maybe you got an Echo drone here, and maybe you have an Echo drone like lobby or something. So you have vision. You're already playing here. If they jump in, you stun them. You swing off that. If they're not going for you, you leave your Echo drone. You maybe go around and like to main stairs or bridge position, run upstairs, help them, hold the main stair, jump over. And then late round, you can play bottom main with those Echo drones, and then you have like excellent denial, especially if it's a late round. You can stop them. You can go for aggressive plays lobby off them. So Echo is a phenomenal operator to play in that spot. But again, you know, other good ones could be it could be like also like an Azami, because if they ever try to go for open and you have a Lesion and an Azami, I mean, good luck. You can put so many barricades up back here and just play extremely safe. If they open up your E2 wall, you can throw zombies for that and be very, very safe. You could play Melusi, and again, same reason as open area before. You can put traps on traps for the Lesion, so double traps. So if you do bridge, a little bit safer. Your guy's a little bit safer in there because he's got extra traps. So all very good operators. Even another one could be Maestro, because if, say you have a duo and say you're doing a duo strat, you could run this mute option where he mutes all the doors of like Bravo drones and drones, and then you're playing Maestro, and now you stack the site with Maestro cams. Boom, boom, I don't know, something like that. Boom, boom, boom. You got 3, and then super, super powerful. But again, you need someone to go mute probably, or all your Maestro bubbles are going bye-bye. So yeah, another good op there. That's going to be your bottom floor. And then as far as your top floor, again, position 4, Janitor. What's a really good op for Janitor? For me on this one, it's going to be a trap operator. I'm a big fan of like, here, position 4. I'm a big fan of like even Ela, if you're worried about shields, right? You can use for your curve. You could do the same thing if you want to play smoke here, just to smoke your curve and time waste. You could also, another op that could go Fenrir, technically. So all trap operators or smoke, you just want to time waste this side, and then potential for windows. And then as far as the last position, I personally like playing it here, but you could still go over here with castle and do that same castle setup, right? Still keep these lines of sight, boom, boom. You still got this castle, this castle, this castle. You could absolutely still do that. Or you could play like in here with like a Mozzie or a Mira, because with Mozzie, you can pest all the windows. That will take them so long if they plan on going from windows, but it is also ranked, and a lot of people don't come from windows. So Mira is also a very, very good operator because you can put this Mira to help the curve pressure. And then you can also put one for your stock hall since no one is playing stock. And you could just sit right here and you have permanent vision. And as this guy layers, boom, bada bing, bada boom. So much time waste, so much pressure. You get downstairs, and then I already talked about how to win from below, right? I mean, if they want to end backside, you have kitchen open, you have all these holes. And if they want to end front side, you got main stairs, you can E2 flank, and then you also have like these deep angles through these walls. So Tellers is a really good site. I truly do think Tellers is a really good site. You don't see it in ranked very often, but that is how Tellers should play. Hopefully it's easier to understand. And yeah, maybe try it out next ranked game. Let me know how it goes. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, please consider giving it a like and a subscribe. I would absolutely love you so much for it. And, you know, let me know in the comments what's the next map you want to see. Hopefully I'll get a little bit better at doing these for you guys. I know I might have yapped a little bit too much, but, you know, if you're confused with anything, feel free to put it down in the comments. I'll try my best to answer it and make things as easy as possible. But see you guys in the next video.